All right, guys, how's it going? Welcome to the first ever inaugural AdoredTV podcast. I'm here with Matthew.
Hi.
And I'm Kirk. We're writers on the website. We wanted to talk about some of the latest news of this week, kind of go over a few things here that we've written up.
Very conveniently, it comes from our website.
Of course, we'll also cover topics that are not necessarily written up on our website either, because we think the author did a fantastic job originally, or we've had a tight news cycle. But we're actually just going to cover a few things from our website for this week, but you should stay tuned for future weeks where we do cover maybe some other topics as well.
Well, there just hasn't been that much news this week. It's been kind of boring.
Yeah, it has been kind of boring from a gamer standpoint. We have had a few other bits of news come out, such as confirmations about some IO MMU vulnerabilities for Intel. So definitely not a good news week for them.
I missed that. I just kind of block out all the Intel vulnerabilities.
There's just so many. There's every
too
week.
Many. I don't care anymore. I don't care.
We have some articles that you actually wrote up. I think you have a total of 3 in our roster today.
Yes.
So let's go ahead and start talking about the XE GPU from Intel.
Yeah, so Jim made a video last month about Arctic Sound, or more or less Arctic Sound, some other Z stuff, but Digital Trends sort of I assume they didn't know about Jim's leak, but they had like a follow-up. It's titled Exclusive Internal Intel Docs Reveal 500 Watt Z Graphics Tau Architecture. This is basically almost like the exact same information that Jim leaked. Instead of it doesn't seem they got it from a source. It seems like they actually found some documents. Maybe a source gave it to them. But what they're showing is all these like slides that reveal some specifications. We have one slide that shows like some features, and then we have another slide that shows like what Arctic Sound's going to be used for. Yeah. So this is a lot of information. Not all of this is stuff that we already reported. Some of this is new, which is nice to see.
Well, and the usage slide really speaks to me as what really puts this leak as more legitimate. I mean, the other slides are simplistic enough that it could be created by somebody and just forged, but to go through the effort to make the usage slide, I mean, that's something that Intel would have done, not necessarily a third party.
That definitely looks like Intel marketing. It looks like older Intel marketing to me, but it definitely looks like older like Intel marketing at the very least. I reverse image searched it. It didn't pick up anything else other than Digital Trends' article, so they didn't rip it off of anywhere. So I assume that this is a legit slide.
Yeah.
I don't think they ripped off our leak. I think the author would have been would have said more correct things about the GPU and the technology in general if he
had actually watched Adored's full video on it.
Some of the things he said are questionable.
Yeah.
Like hang on, let me. He says, though it isn't mentioned, Z will likely use Foveros 3D stacking for interconnecting between multiple dies, and well, maybe for Ponte Vecchio. Ponte Vecchio, I don't think that's confirmed to use Foveros. It is confirmed to use EMIB. I don't think Intel has confirmed anything but Lakefield to use Foveros. So that's a weird thing to say. And they also equate TDP to performance, which is kind of weird. But otherwise, it's a good leak.
Yeah, TDP has nothing to do with performance, or else some of the Vega cards would have been high performers indeed.
Oh, yeah.
And Fermi would have been a great GPU.
Oh, yeah, he says, judging by TDP alone, this product likely fits as a competitor to the 280-watt RTX Titan or Tesla V100. There's no way.
No.
There's no way this GPU is gonna even come close.
Yeah.
If Jim sources are to be believed, that it is the worst of all worlds.
Hot and slow. Yeah. Not a good
Yeah.
rasterizer, but not a good ML either.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because the core is still a streaming device, and then Roger Kadiri added on a bunch of inferencing stuff. Now Ponte Vecchio could be good, because that is presumably not a streaming device and it's on their own 7 nanometer process, which could be quite good.
Yeah, and they'll probably get some pretty decent yields out of that, assuming their 7 nanometers well on track.
Hopefully.
Hey, I'm giving them the benefit of the doubt.
I think it'll be late, but I don't think it would be like as bad as 10 nanometer. And to be fair, 10 nanometer sets the bar like really low.
It's definitely the lowest bar that they've had in a while. That's for sure.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, it's so bad. But they've never been behind until now. They're behind.
Yeah, this is one of the first times that they've actually been significantly behind, because 7 nanometer from TSMC is actually doing very well. They've gotten some very high yields. We actually had some discussion earlier about just what type of yield rate 7 nanometer actually is getting.
Yeah. It's really good, and TSMC revealed it recently.
Oh yeah.
Did you see that slide? The I can't remember where it was at, but there was they showed a slide comparing 7 nanometer to 16 nanometer with time normalized.
Yep.
So 7 nanometers is yielding better now than 16 nanometers was when it was as old as 7 nanometers.
Yeah.
So like 2-3 quarters out.
And they actually showed a line on there that showed larger die GPU stuff as well. And
that larger die,
it was a higher mark than what even the chiplets have been getting, so that was impressive.
Yeah, so the bigger dies have a lower defect density, which is interesting.
It's probably due to some more redundancy in the design, perhaps.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the Arctic Sound will apparently max out at 500 watts.
Yeah, that when you start exceeding your CPU's power,
oh, it's crazy.
Especially their desktop CPUs.
Oh my god.
I mean, I know this is an add-in board and all, but it
is cool tech though. I mean, it would be the first well, I guess it's not the first multi-GPU configuration. It's the first multi-GPU configuration on the market in some time. It's the first that's gonna use something more coherent, like because the dies are connected to each other. On something like the dual Vega board, if that exists, or like the 290X or 295X2, whatever the hell that thing's called.
Mm-hmm.
That thing, the dies aren't connected to each other. They're on the same board, but they're not there's no connection between the dies themselves.
Yeah, so they have to go over the PCIe's.
Yeah, they have to go over that. The Arctic Sound dies are connected via EMIB.
So that leads one to question whether they're going to be more coherent and appear as a single GPU to the OS, or if they're going to show up as 4 separate GPUs.
I think it'll probably look like one. The performance might not behave as one GPU, but it'll probably be coherent, I'd imagine. Because otherwise, why use EMIB?
Exactly.
Other than connect the memory, the HBM2E, to the dies.
Yeah, they could be sharing that.
Jim in his video, he wanted me to issue a correction in the article because we just kind of figured this out. He was told 12 dies and 4 tiles, and he assumed that meant 12 GPU dies. But and this thing is saying 4 tiles means 4 GPU dies. So now we think it's 4 GPU dies, 4 tiles, plus 8 HBM2 dies.
Yeah, and that definitely. And since this is meant more as a server side GPU, having that much HBM, it makes sense.
Yeah. Is it? What does HBM2E max out at? Is it 4 GB or can it go up to like?
I thought it was 8.
Yeah,
Like
so it's probably at least 32 GB.
Yeah, which makes
Maybe
sense.
64.
I mean, imagine that kind of a powerhouse on the server side of things doing ML or AI, with even 32 or up to 64 gig of HBM driving it.
Yeah, it's just too bad it has a lot of power, not the good kind of power.
Well, if anyone's going to be able to manage it, I hope it would be data center guys. I mean, they are taking care of those glued together Cascade Lake GPU or CPUs, right?
They don't want that though. Those things aren't selling. Those things aren't real.
Yeah, they're selling to very select customers of high order size, from what I understand. So
that's what we've been told, but
just because 2 people bought it,
it just doesn't make any sense to sell that CPU. It just doesn't make any sense. No one's gonna buy it.
Yeah,
Intel's probably giving them away for free or paying people to take them.
No,
Anyways.
I think they're at least doing cost to put them together and then having a slight markup on the dies. We'll see.
I just don't. And it's. Oh no, you go ahead.
I'm just saying that they're probably way more mythical than they're leading on.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah. And Arctic Sound's gonna have PCIe 4, so
yeah,
by the time it comes out, it won't only be compatible on AMD.
Yeah, and so I'm pretty sure Intel's going to end up with PCIe 4 pretty soon here. They'll probably announce it as some big thing
that they're pioneering in. What if it was like Thunderbolt 4? Were they just did you not hear Thunderbolt 4 is literally just a rebrand of Thunderbolt 3? So imagine they say we have PCIe Gen 4 and it's just a rebrand of Gen 3.
Well,
like AT&T's they had a scandal over saying that they have 5G or
yeah, it's 5GE. That's how they got around it. It's
PCIe 4E.
It's as fast as the baseline 5G, so we can call it 5G, right?
Anyway, so that's basically. There's not a whole lot of new information, but it's cool to get A, some documents, and B, some confirmation.
Especially when it seems to be from a second source as opposed to just direct leaks.
Oh, that Jim keeps making up lies.
No, he's been
an alt Jim.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's gonna be really weird hearing someone who's clearly not Scott with a slight Swedish accent talking about this.
Well, at least we know you're not Jim because you obviously don't have a very heavy accent.
There's no way I could do it.
Yeah, I don't
even want to try.
I don't even want to try either. He's just hard to replicate. All right.
Okay, so yeah,
we have some AMD news now.
We got one of each of the big companies. We got some Intel, some Nvidia, some AMD. Yeah. So this is kind of a small thing, but this publication called Notebook Italia, they made a video. They're filming some Lenovo employee going over the Yoga Slim 14-inch. It's new. Comes with AMD and Intel. Run more in Ice Lake. And they talk about the Ryzen 9 4900U. Not only is it printed on the spec sheet, but he literally says Ryzen 9 4900U. So it's definitely not a mistake. And this video was later taken down. So 4900U is probably a pretty good chance. I think people spotted it in the drivers or something. That might have been spotted. I'm not sure.
Was that the Apple leak that you're talking about? The one where they saw it in the Apple drivers?
Leak was just architecture names.
Oh yeah, that was right. That was for AMD GPUs and Renoir and the APUs that are associated with it. Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if that means that AMD is coming to Apple, but anyways, 4900U is probably real.
Yeah, it could just be that they had pulled in drivers from a more open source location or something.
I would wait for it.
If I was Apple, I would seriously be looking at AMD as well. But
Thunderbolt.
Hey, there is a Thunderbolt certified motherboard for
Yeah, it's
AMD
now
now.
certified. It wasn't certified for a long time though. I remember reporting on that at Tom's. Like, God, it's almost been a year now since that board came out. Because it was unique not just because of the Thunderbolt 3, but because it only supports Intel coolers.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's weird. If you look at the board, you can clearly see that. Anyway, so this 4900U, it's probably just a higher clocked 4800U. Do we know if there are more than 8 compute units in VMware, or is it just max out there?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, so maybe it'll add another compute unit or two and more clock speed, and that's why it's a 4900U, but otherwise...
Yeah, if there's any disabled CUs, it's definitely got that opportunity to be a full open die. Because we've only heard about up to the 4800U so far.
Yeah, and that maxed out is 8. And AMD was talking about how they've reduced the compute units, and but they've increased the clock speed, so overall they have a net gain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if they're just talking about like they physically disabled more compute units or they literally took them off the die. I mean, imagine they took them off the die, because if you're not going to use them and you're making a new die, why bother having them?
Definitely to try to keep the millimeters squared down. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But we know the 4900U isn't a myth per se, because it's the only Ryzen 9 that we are aware of, and we do know that ROG has posted that they support up to a AMD Ryzen 9 in their Zephyrus G14. So,
well, there was a leak for a 4900 HS that I wasn't aware of.
Oh yeah,
I can't remember. I think Rogame on Twitter. He's a new leaker, and he's gotten some pretty good stuff. It's like Rogaine, except it's the word game. So you search him up.
Okay.
And I think he linked me that, and I think he leaked that, or someone did. Someone linked the 4900 HS. That's what I'm saying. I can't remember the exact detail. So the G14 might also come with the 4900. Clearly, they weren't supposed to talk about the 4900U.
Yeah,
So
and
it's possible that
Asus having just a Ryzen 9 brand on there,
yeah,
is vague enough that they don't have to take it down. But the fact that this video was taken down showing a 4900U, I think that's definitely some confirmation there.
Well, it's on the page where it says Ryzen 9. It's on the page where you're not really supposed to get to. It's the where to buy page, but the thing is, where to buy isn't a button where you'd normally be on the website.
Yeah, somebody just reversed the URL. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you just put in where to buy at the very end.
Gotta love data leaks from websites. Oh yeah.
Yeah. That's the thing. A similar thing that I was trying to do on AMD's website to find out about like CPUs that they haven't announced but have their own website. So they used to organize it by numbers, and it would start from, I think their CPU number would start from 10,000, and if you subtracted 2, so like from 10,000 to like 9,998, you get to the next CPU. So I would just go to their most recent CPU, subtract 2, and see what was there. But I don't think anything ever leaked because of that.
No, usually they have a pretty good content management system that they won't publish the page until it's actually viable.
Yeah, but they did get rid of that system. I don't think it works anymore. I think you had to literally put in the name now. So
yeah,
so
that's
maybe something
what
did
I recall from
way.
What I was playing with.
But I never got to leak anything because of that.
Yeah. Let this be a lesson for web developers. Don't use predictable numbers.
Yeah. Subtract. Such a weird way to do it anyways. Why would you do that?
So you can
subtract to 1.
So you don't have to count up to Core i9 10 500 kind of naming G2.
Man, it'd be crazy if some company
had
a product called the 1067 G5.
Yeah, tell me about it. I don't know who in their right marketing mind would do that.
The 8180. That's a crazy name after going from E5 2667 or whatever. Intel's a mess. You want to move on to VMware?
Well, I just hope that they take the opportunity when they come out with a good new UARC that they will start the branding over, get off this core thing so that they don't have to stay with the 10th, 11th, 12th generation stuff. And
I want to get up to 50th generation.
It might still be on 14 plus, and maybe it's just to count the pluses.
14th generation, 14 nanometers. Let's do it.
14 pluses on the end. Hey, that'd be a good branding.
Oh my God.
Just lean on the keyboard.
Rocket Lake's technically 10 nanometer. It has a separate die with 10 nanometer graphic.
Hey, there you go.
The first 10 nanometer desktop CPU.
I'm honestly surprised AMD hasn't done the separate GPU and CPU dies on the same chip.
I was thinking...
I thought they would have done it this gen, but maybe they're still working on the transition.
Like for APUs, I was thinking an interesting thing for all their CPUs where they'd put a Vega 3 GPU in the I/O die.
I was kind of hoping that they would have, at least on all of their low spec stuff. I mean, sure, you don't need it on a Ryzen 9 or something.
I would say it'd be useful for the Ryzen 9. Because it's as fast as Intel's integrated graphics. And you don't need to get a discrete GPU. It's just in case that's just your use case.
I mean, they could even sneak it into the I/O die, to be honest.
Yeah, it would probably make it quite a bit larger, though. And you also have to consider that it's also the die for the motherboard. If the I/O die was on 7 nanometers...
It is repeated for the chipset, so that would definitely hurt. But it's better than dedicating a whole chip for, 2 CUs or something. But the reason I'm going that direction is I'd love to see a business CPU, GPU combo, and APU. It doesn't have to be able to pump out frames like you're going to be playing Battlefield on it, because you're not. But have something more business oriented that has enough GPU oomph to do all the 2D stuff that an OS would require.
Yeah, AMD's definitely struggling there. Now, they do have 8 cores now with good graphics, but on the other hand, they also have 16-core CPUs, so... I mean, I'm not saying that the 3950X is a waste of money because it doesn't have graphics, but...
Well, for us home users or pro users, it's definitely not a waste of money, and we're going to pair it with some kind of GPU in our system. But when you look at business computers, right now they have to look at these like 4800Us and stuff to put into a nuke alike, like what they actually have planned coming from Gigabyte, coincidentally, to use as a business machine. Otherwise, you have to pair it with some cheap throwaway graphics card, and that can raise the price of the system enough to make it kind of apples to apples with an Intel option that does have a discrete GPU.
Yeah.
Or integrated GPU. It's just one of those things I'm battling for our desktops at work. I'm sitting here going, if only, but we still have to run these mitigation required CPUs that every week have some new vulnerability.
Don't
I have
love
to.
It?
No, not
mitigated. Solved.
Of course, it's mitigated. Maybe.
100% secure.
And speaking of work, that takes us to our next topic, VMware, which is something I also have purview over at work. This one directly affected me, and I just kind of spat a little bit when I read this the morning of the 3rd, actually. VMware, if you haven't known, because not everyone follows business cycles, but VMware announced a change to their licensing. This is something I had we talk with VMware on like a quarterly sometimes basis about upgrades and licensing and that kind of stuff. And almost every time we meet with our sales rep, I ask them point blank if they plan on changing the licensing at all so that we can plan for future data center upgrades. And they've always come back as, nope, we have no intention to. And I'm like, even with this increased core count we're getting? They're like, no, don't have any plan to. Well, they definitely finally...
But they did.
Yeah. And to be fair, I really doubt the sales guys knew about this even up to a few months before this happened. Yeah. They may have gotten notified back in January. I don't know. But here it is. If you have more than 32 cores in a socket, you will have to pay for another socket license.
It does seem like it's singling out AMD, but it's their own marketing that makes it seem like it. So you see, like on the first row, it says 1 CPU, 28 cores, 1 CPU license. Yeah. And the next one is 1 CPU, 64 cores, clearly AMD Rome, and it says it's 2 CPU licenses.
Yeah.
If they're trying to, if this literally has nothing to do with Intel, they're not making a good case for it, because it really seems like it.
And it even makes it worse in all the marketing that had led up to this was all, look at the great things that one socket brings you. You know, you get this huge discount in licensing costs.
Rip AMD marketing.
Well, it wasn't just AMD marketing it. Dell with theirs.
Dell?
Yeah,
Dell owns VMware.
Exactly.
That's really confusing.
Serve the Home actually had a slide that I was unable to find, and so I couldn't necessarily corroborate, but I'm 100% sure it's legit. They had a marketing slide with their 6515 and 60 and 7525 and such. They're AMD Rome-based servers. They had flat out 50% lower licensing costs in the bottom right corner of the slide, directly stating, half the sockets and so half the price.
From VMware or Dell?
It just said reduced licensing costs, so they were suggesting that it was the per socket license. It was a Dell slide.
Okay.
It's
not as bad as VMware.
It was talking about their VMware Ready Rails system.
Mm-hmm.
So the system that they have certified to drop in to a vCloud environment to run vSAN and ESXi in a cluster. And
I know some of those words.
I could start throwing out more acronyms if you'd like.
Oh, that would be great. Please do so.
Yeah, but the system, all you need to do is just download this driver pack and this whole system upgrade, and it'll give you the exact version of drivers that are certified for that system. So you can have 100% assurity that the combination that you're running has been tried and true. You're not going to have problems unless if it's an unknown. Yeah. But this slide is what was talking about the reduced licensing cost. And if you want to look at save 50% on your licensing from the reverse point of view, it's they don't have to pay as much in licensing to VMware. So with that reduced revenue, well, something's got to give, right?
Is VMware actually losing revenue over not increasing the licensing, though?
Well, their core ESXi product has actually been slipping as far as their source of income percentage-wise. They've got a plethora of other products that they sell that are kind of bolt-ons or even things more on the desktop like VMware Workstation that they get a lot of licensing money from as well. So ESXi, their core product that is obviously being directly affected by this, is just a small percentage of the revenue. But the thing is, this applies to all of their licensing. So VMware Workstation, vCloud, all of their like vSAN. You also have NSX, which is their software-defined networking. That's all, well, used to be per socket licensed. And now they're changing to this hybrid model where it's per socket up to 32 cores. So this is more reminiscent of like SQL Server licensing back in the day before it became full per core licensing.
Yeah.
So
if Intel is behind, I don't think it's a very smart move because Ice Lake's probably going to increase core count. I know Cooper Lake is up to 56 cores, but that's probably just Cascade Lake AP.
Again. And I don't think there's any like money exchanging hands or anything like that. I'm not a conspiracy theorist in that Intel's trying to force Dell to do this, but I think maybe someone from Intel could have been like, hey, you know, you guys are losing revenue here and we're not going to get a high core count CPU out for a while. You should probably change your licensing to match more what we do.
The thing is that Ice Lake it'll probably be above 32 cores. Like, surely it will be.
They'll have some models that'll go all the way up to 56.
Yeah. Well, no, that's Cooper Lake.
Yeah, you're right.
We don't know
the gen after that.
Ice Lake.
Yeah.
But like the base Ice Lake die, surely that'll have more than 28 cores, even though it's on 10 nanometer. Like, so I don't know if I buy into the theory that Intel is behind this. Evil Intel.
Yeah, because they're not going to sell their high-end CPU anymore either, kind of thing, because everyone's now going to be faced with these huge licensing fees. And
if
yes,
Intel is behind this, then this is a really dumb idea. Not very smart.
Yeah, correct. Depends on how much it costs to make their high core count CPUs too.
It's probably really expensive. A lot of them probably are just thrown right in the garbage. Unless they want to sell like quad cores that are like 700, 600 millimeters squared large.
Well, they have made quad die before. Remember the Core 2 quads?
Was that quad die?
No, actually it was 2 dies with dual cores, so yeah.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah.
So maybe they could throw in a quad die, but that would be a really big package.
That would be like the size of a waffle. That's something Ian Cuttress would eat.
It'd probably be able to cook a waffle.
Yeah.
But yeah, it applies to their entire spectrum of software. So it's not just targeting ESXi, but ESXi is definitely the most common, I would say, because it's obviously the base that everyone has to have before they can stack on vSAN and NSX and whatnot. But you're going to end up looking like, a lot of increase in cost as we get 3 years down the road, 4 years down the road. And I think they made this change to the licensing to kind of keep up with the times. Yeah. Honestly, they should have made this change 2 years ago when it wouldn't have mattered. Nobody would have cared. It's like 32 cores. Nobody's going to come out with that. The Naples just came out with 32 cores, so they're cutting it right there. Sure, that makes sense. And then when the 64 comes out, then nobody's going to sit here and plan an entire server refresh for 6 months or a year going, hey, look, these 64 core CPUs are doing wonderful. We can cut our costs in half by getting single sockets, or we can double our compute for the same price by doing
or Intel.
Yeah, or just run Intel,
Innovating through intelligence.
Well, they're
that was their CES slogan.
Yeah. I think people are buying more Intel right now just to make up for the lost performance.
They cut the prices. Apparently, they cut the prices by
half.
Yeah, that's what Charlie Semi-Accurate says.
Well,
I mean, it's behind the.
I haven't seen it trickle down yet. So, yeah, but I haven't gotten a quote for an Intel server in a few months. So, we might actually see that cut on the back end.
Now, I'm missing a lot of nuance here because he puts most of the content behind the paywall.
Yeah.
You usually get a small snippet, but he has said in some context that there are price cuts that are more than 50%, like way bigger than like 10th gen high-end desktop.
Well, it's that marketing power of theirs.
Yeah, I just don't see the point.
A lot of financial power.
Yeah, so much financial power they have to cut the prices.
Well, now they actually have a proper competitor, thankfully. So we have one more article that we're going to talk about. It is Nvidia to round out our big three, right?
GeForce Now is finally available. Apparently it's good, at least for pricing.
Well, yeah, they're talking about $5 a month, which,
yeah,
I guess compared to Stadia is free, but they have
no. The Stadia doesn't have a free edition yet. They
not
say
yet.
Coming soon.
They did announce the free alongside the paid for from day one.
Yeah.
So you got to give them that,
but
even though they haven't delivered on it yet.
Nvidia's half the price.
It is.
You don't need to buy a $130 device to stream your games. Now, I'm pretty sure that this is the case. Is that right now that you have to buy the streaming device in order to get it? Because there's the Pro Edition, and because that's the only thing you can buy right now is the Pro Edition, and that comes with the device. So, I mean, and you can play it on your PC, I believe. You don't need the device, but since the Pro Edition is the only thing that's available, you will consequently have to buy a device that you probably won't use.
Well, the controller isn't bad. I have a Stadia I was acquiring to test and see for myself.
That's right. I forgot.
Yeah, I bought it with the intention to use it, see how it works, so I could provide an informed opinion about it. And the setup is not quite as atrocious as was made to sound on a lot of reviews, but it definitely is not easy.
Have you
some quirks with
played
it.
Games?
Yeah, I have. I've loaded Destiny 2, and I think Farming Simulator.
Is the experience good or is it bad?
It's actually not that bad. You can see where the artifacting happens for the compression. It's not something you can readily miss unless if you're just not looking.
What about latency?
Latency's not too bad. You get able to adjust to it pretty easily, so that you can anticipate a little bit. It's like playing a game over a slower internet connection where you kind of have to think ahead. But it's close enough. Yeah, it's close enough that it's not something you even consciously have to think about, right? And I've been
speaking of the game. Oh no, you go ahead.
Oh, I was just saying I've been in other streaming betas as well, and the experience on those was pretty similar, where you could play like a racing game or something like that and be just fine. So if you want to talk about a game that requires a little bit of a reaction time, a racing game, right? Fortunately, you can kind of see where the road's going, see oncoming traffic, so you don't really need like lightning reflexes, but it's still something that you need to have proper timing on. And so you push over, you want the thing to actually go over and make a turn without crashing into something.
Yeah, okay, so the games, so Stadia has like, I don't even know how many games it has. It only has like maybe like 2 dozen.
Yeah.
GeForce Now, they do need to like support it, but it's not like Stadia where they're like literally like porting it into Linux and Vulkan and then they stream it to you. It's just, I don't know what the level of support that Nvidia requires, but they're running Windows 10 and then they stream it to you. You can't play all games, but you can play pretty much all games. The most,
Yeah,
like, the most
they have about
popular ones.
1,000 that are certified right
Yeah.
now.
Now it's
And
interesting. What happened today is that Blizzard pulled out from GeForce Now. They don't support it anymore. That just happened today. So all the
that,
Blizzard games, they're off GeForce Now. You can't do it anymore.
yeah, yeah, that is
That's
kind of
really
odd.
weird. Why is Blizzard try so hard to make everybody hate them?
Especially
Why do they keep?
since they're some of their games are subscription based. Why shouldn't
Oh,
you be able
yeah.
to play WoW
It just
in
doesn't
the
make any
cloud?
sense.
I mean, I can
I
see where some game that's going to be heavily used for a long period of time, like a MMO RPG and stuff, it's $5 a month makes it kind of hard to make that cost effective.
Yeah, but the thing is that this is you're paying for the platform. You already have to own the game. You already have to
Hmm.
buy the game. Nvidia's not a storefront. Though I think you can buy games from Nvidia, but it's very, very few games. Pretty much all the games through GeForce Now you have to own from Steam or some other platform.
Yeah,
So so Blizzard pulling the plug on support is like telling people don't play our game.
well,
It baffles me.
maybe it requires a little bit of palm greasing on the back end.
No, I don't think so. Hang on, let me get the statement. It's probably in my Twitter feed. Oh no, it's literally right here. It was like right in front of me. What exactly did they say? They said, per their request, please be advised Blizzard games will be removed from the service. While unfortunate, we hope to work together with Blizzard to re-enable these games more in the future. That sounds like to me that they're just disabling it. That they're removing support to remove support.
Wow. I wonder
Oh,
if,
and here's the hard figure for how many games GeForce Now has. Over 1,500.
oh, they're up to 1,500 now.
Yeah.
That's pretty impressive considering they have to
Yeah.
kind of load up and validate each game.
Yeah, it's weird how they can't just like let people run whatever. I guess they want to make sure that the experience is always consistent. They don't want people to complain because they're running an unsupported game.
Yeah, and they definitely
But
don't want
whatever.
to have the negative press that Stadia has been seeing.
Yeah. But it supports less games that were literally ported.
Yes. Things that were
So it's crazy.
tried and tested and even improved to run in Stadia better.
All the Vulkan goodness is getting lost in the Google translation.
Yeah. And Google has to buy AMD GPUs, whereas
Oh yeah.
GeForce Now, they already have Tesla GPUs that they can co-host on or something like that.
No, they're not using Teslas. They're using Turing.
Oh, so they're
They might have used to use Teslas, but they're definitely they support ray tracing.
yeah,
I don't
but
know if we found the. I don't know if we know
but
exactly
they're on
what the
their data
specs are.
center GPUs, right?
I don't know if they're data center. They might be gaming. They might be like 2060s or something.
You mean they're breaking their own EULA?
I don't. They can probably put something in the EULA that says, by the way, we don't have to roll it.
There probably is something in there that says that.
Or if they break the EULA, they're not going to sue themselves.
Exactly.
But I mean, like, even if GeForce Now is only as bad as Stadia, everything else is way better.
Yeah.
Like even the free service, because at least it exists. I wonder if Google's free service will be because GeForce Now only limit you to an hour on free, and I don't think Stadia has a limit. But then on the other hand, you don't have the games,
Yeah.
so
You have to
buy them.
buy the game from the Stadia platform in order to play them for free on their platform.
So like Stadia makes no sense because it costs as much as a console. Why the hell would you not just buy a console?
Over time, it does start to cost as much of a console, but over that period of time, you also get consistently upgraded hardware to run on.
That's the thing. There's the internet bottleneck too.
Yes, if you are on a poor internet connection, you're not going to have a good time with it.
And there will always be latency.
Yeah.
So does the hardware even matter that much? Does it matter that it has like a Vega 56 or whatever?
Well, the thing that Google has going for it is they have data centers all over the world and in a lot of
Yeah,
major cities. The
but
latency, just the speed of light, can be reduced because they're closer.
Jim,
Whereas,
he made a video about Stadia, and he was very hopeful. He was talking about like why GeForce Now probably wouldn't succeed. It
yeah,
really looks
because
like,
they're asking for some data center real estate to put their
yeah.
GPU boxes essentially.
I
And
think all Jim's points were very good, but it seems it didn't really pan out that way.
well,
Like
I don't know the
GeForce Now is a
numbers of
thing.
how many GeForce Now data centers there are.
That I mean that is true.
I mean, Google has been happy to brag about how many data centers have Stadia in them.
But all I've heard about Stadia are memes, and I've heard about GeForce Now is that it's very good. I haven't tried it for myself. I probably should,
Well,
but
the thing that I
I
really
mean,
like about it is that I can load up my Steam library and play any number of the games today on it.
well, most of them. Have you
Any,
actually checked if they're all compatible?
I have not because I have a very long list of games.
Yeah.
Everyone probably has a very long list of games on their Steam
I
account.
wonder if you can use mods like with Skyrim. That's
That
an
is
interesting question.
probably if they're I would assume that if they're in the community hub, like the workshop, you might be able to. But
Nexus mods? Who knows?
yeah, but
Now I know you can't play. I looked this up. They only support one Total War title, which is really sad. They don't
yeah.
support Rome 2 or Attila.
Oh darn.
That's very sad. But I am actually kind of mad at Attila right now. I don't think I'm gonna be playing that anytime soon. God, that's
But
literally send thousands of freaking death stacks against you. It's fun in the beginning because it makes a challenge, but when the Persian Empire won't give up until you've burned down every single one of their cities, it's a little much. I guess that's it for all of the articles and news. Very
that
slow
is,
week.
yeah, I'm sure we're gonna have some more to talk about next week. So
Yeah.
definitely stay tuned. We're gonna try to make this a more regular thing. It might end up being every other week, just depending on how the news cycle goes. And of course, when things pick up, we might even kick out 2 a week. I don't know. Just depends on
One a
how many
day.
people we can get together.
Live
Uh,
coverage.
live coverage. Yeah, we'll just live stream for 24
24/7.
hours. You
We
can
can
listen
get
to
a
Matt and I snore all night. Yeah.
no. We can have a Nubius cover for when we're asleep.
Hey, there you go. He is in a different time zone from us. So
Yeah, he's in Finland.
round the clock coverage.
That's almost on the exact other side of the world.
Hey, and
But hang on,
maybe
let me get a globe. Wait, no, I already know. It's only 8 time zones away. So
maybe
it's
we
not.
can just have Jim turn on Periscope or something and just be live streaming the whole time we're
Yeah.
offline. You just get to see Jim's life on a day-to-day basis, you know?
Him getting mad about drivers.
Yeah. Yelling in his new Swedish that he's learning.
If he hasn't switched over to that 1080 Ti, there's something wrong with him. There's
The-
something wrong with me for not using my 1080 Ti, though I do have an excuse. That is for testing.
Well, you did see pictures of my 1080 Ti.
Did I? I don't remember.
It's in the coverage that I did on Threadripper.
Oh, didn't read that.
I gutted my. Oh, you didn't read my Threadripper review?
I mean, like,
I'm just going to
I
ignore that.
I think I skimmed it. Is it the Noctua one or is it the 3960X review?
It's the actual 3960X review.
Okay, hang on.
I pulled out all the big guns.
Is that a
and
single slot 1080 Ti?
it's actually a 2 3/4. It's a pretty
Wait,
massive
what?
Aorus 1080 Ti.
No, I'm looking at something else. What the heck?
I have a 570 Aorus card as well in the box
I saw,
that I
I
used during the
saw,
Noctua testing.
I saw a single slot GPU unless that image was like really like
Warped or
squished down.
it's probably the 570, but I didn't have a single slot GPU in it.
Oh, no, I'm looking at the that looks like a motherboard accessory.
Oh, yes.
For SSDs. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was looking at.
That's a pretty heavy add-in board, by the way.
I see the 1080 Ti, except it's covered by the 570 in that picture. But and Jim sent me and Alex two 1080 Ti's, not each, just one each.
Yeah, that way you'd have something to run against other GPUs.
But he just had it lying around, and he also has a third 1080 Ti.
Hey, he's got a Radeon 7 as well.
Yeah, I know, but if he has, it's already weird that he had two 1080 Ti's. Having three is pretty freaking crazy. Of the same brand.
The same brand?
Yeah, he had two EVGA 4-to-1-3s. He sent one to me, one to Alex.
Well, at least it's an EVGA.
Yeah, and he said in the video, I don't know if he was just saying this because that's what he had at the time, or if that's what he has right now. I'll have to ask him. I have no idea.
But
this is very generous.
As an aside for our viewers, this kind of gives you some back-end knowledge here. 1080 Ti's, you guys would probably kill to have, but
oh yeah, God.
As testers, we receive these things from vendors so that we can run them for testing. As you can see, we don't really even use these in our personal boxes. My 1080 Ti I bought myself and used that in the Threadripper review to give you guys some good 1080 Ti based numbers rather than some 570 or something that I had laying around as well.
I feel a little bit bad about having the 1080 Ti because I don't even use it for CPU cooler testing anymore. I took it out because it was too big.
Yeah, exactly.
I took the 570 from the Power Color eGPU, and now I use that. If I could have just put the GPU in the other PCIe slot, it would have been fine. But for some reason, the other X16 slot on the motherboard doesn't have an image output. I have no idea why, and I'm too lazy to figure out. So I was just like, I'll use the smaller GPU.
I know I have a couple of cards that don't have image outputs because they're mining cards.
Ooh.
Yeah, I'll admit it. I'm sorry. I have some GPU mining cards. I'm part of the problem. Back when the prices were
2016, 2017 were freaking crazy because of the mining thing. That was absolute insanity.
Well,
I can't believe it's over.
I got all of my GPUs sorted before the spike in costs, so I didn't have to pay but maybe a $20 markup on any of them that I bought, because I'm not going to pay a $200 markup on a GPU no matter how much Bitcoin is worth. I
literally bought both my RAM and my GPU when they were the most expensive. Because I was like, it's not going to get any lower than this. I better pay up right now.
And then all of a sudden,
so I bought my Vega 56, which is the highest end model you can buy. It's the Power Color Red Devil. I bought that for $550. And now it did come with Far Cry 5 or whatever. Yeah, Far Cry 5. But God, that was so dumb. I bought my 16GB of RAM for like $250.
And I was surprised the Red Devil 570 actually wasn't that good of a mining GPU.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it wouldn't undervolt and underclock well enough to get within a good wattage threshold.
That's weird.
The lowest I could really get it to be stable and get the performance out of it that I could get with other cards was at about 125 watt. But these Sapphire Pulse cards, oh, those were pretty good cards. I was able to get those down to like 90 watts, but still pull some pretty good dual mining numbers off of them. But that's probably for another day.
Yeah.
But I think we've got our time. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check back. We're going to be posting these on Adored Web rather than AdoredTV so that we can separate some of our web content from the actual gym content that you guys all know and love. We're going to try to put some additional video stuff relating to the website on this channel as well. So be sure
Lots of clickbait.
Yeah, be sure to smash the like buttons on all these videos. Check them all out. Ring the bell, yes, so you can get notified when we get new videos uploaded so that you can see a 1-minute clip of fan audio from from a CPU cooler or something and want to go read the article that's associated with it. And make sure
you ring the bell for the bell so that you get the notification for the notification.
And
then just change that.
And then turn the volume up on your phone so you'll hear it, right?
Yeah.
And hit the subscribe button as well, because we can't monetize the channel until we're over 1,000 subs. So just saying.
Wait, is that real?
Yes.
We're poor?
Well, we don't have a sponsor yet. So if you're a sponsor or wanting to help sponsor the website, get a hold of Jim.
we would like to keep the website running.
We definitely would like to keep the website running. I think I get paid in peanuts. I'm not sure about you, Matthew, but...
Wait, you get paid? No, I'm just kidding. I had someone accuse me of like being like working for free, and I was an idiot. Someone was real mad. I think this was on AdoredTV.
Yeah. All right. We'll talk to you later. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.